Hey, and welcome to a new vlog. This vlog is a little bit different because the entire vlog will be with this voiceover. I got a new phone, and just for the people who are wondering, it's the iPhone 16 Pro. I never get new phones. I usually get second-handed. I'm not materialistic at all, but I'm really enjoying vlogging for YouTube and of course doing a lot of Instagram stuff. Hopefully in the future again when I have more energy. And my old phone also couldn't really call that well anymore, couldn't hear people. So it was time for a new phone. And for the first time ever, I bought myself one that was brand new. So I'm going to take you with me on this vlog at the barn. We started with cleaning the shelter and the first part of the paddock. And we do this every day. We just make a big pile and then the person who actually has the chore shift that day cleans it up. But then at least throughout the day, the horses will have clean hooves for as long as we can make that happen for them. So of course, Aslan already spotted me and came to say hi. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do some liberty trainings. First, we're going to take Aslan, and you can see how excited he was for that. Fun fact already, I filmed this yesterday. I'm doing the voiceover today. But Lindy enjoyed this training so much that today, real life today, she also came to look for me when I arrived at the barn. And she hasn't really done that before. So that was really sweet. And you can see that Aslan really loves doing whatever I do with him. So he's just waiting very patiently while I was crafting a tripod for the camera with a water bucket system. And Aslan was just waiting very patiently at the gate for me to get him. So in this training, we started with some simple exercises, some tricks. And eventually I will do some liberty. So I'll just talk you through it. So if you've seen all the videos that I've posted recently, Aslan is showing off his weight shifts in all of them. I have a how-to a little bit older on my YouTube channel, so you can find that. Of course, I can also make a new one. So just with any training things you want to see and anything about the Paddock Paradise, just always let me know what you would like to see on this channel so I can actually make that for you. So we start with just some weight shifts, and here's some moving the shoulders, which is always a nice way to see how he's feeling today. And you could see that moving the shoulder was a little bit difficult. So sometimes that means that he's a little bit stiff somewhere. He might have some muscle pain. He might need a specialist like a physical therapist or a chiropractor or whatever to help him physically. But this side was fine. So that's why I start a lot of trainings like this. Just check, can you move one foot over the other? How flexible are you? And of course, I take in consideration how flexible he normally is. So what is his normal and what is his when is he showing something that needs help? Because he is very flexible. So when he's already a little bit stiff, it's with Aslan already a sign that something might be wrong. And when I compare that with Lindy, she's always pretty stiff. We're working very hard on that, but it's not that weird. So with Lindy, for example, walking backwards is already a great struggle for her, something she finds very difficult. So then I'm not surprised when she shows me that. And with Aslan, that would be very surprising if he struggles with going backwards or turning around like this. So that is what we started with. Here I'm hooking up or attempting to hook up the rope towards the cavescent side of his halter. I do like this halter, but it also moves around a lot. Aslan has showed me that he doesn't like a lot of other types of bridles and halters with a cavescent system. So this is for him a comfortable halter to use, but eventually I do hope to find a prettier and more functional cafesson that we can train with. Here I am very subtly asking him to lower his head, and he knows this trick very well. Every time you see me lower my upper body, and sometimes I'm also asking with the whip towards his shoulder. Every time I do that, he does it immediately, but he also immediately lifts his head again. And that is, of course, not what I want. I want him to be able to hold it down just a little bit more. But we're working on that. And we started walking. And you could see that he was very much still in his trick state of mind. So at first he wasn't really keen on walking with me. But here we are. And also with walking, I'm trying to ask his head low. He is very easily, when he's this flexible as Aslan is, he also falls over very easily. So you can see a lot of his inside shoulder going towards me, while that actually makes going on the circle a lot more difficult. So we're practicing that just a little bit with guiding him with my hand where I have the rope in and asking with the whip to move his shoulder. But of course, when you're already falling that way, it's very hard to shift it back into a more balanced posture. So yeah, things like that we puzzle with, and we love puzzling. So we've just been doing some asking him to go in, asking him to go leg yielding, things like that. And that makes for a fun start of our training. And then after a while, we took a little break, and Aslan was showing me that he might want to take a nice roll in the sand. So I took off his halter to just see what would happen. I'm not showing the entire working in hand session because it's a lot of the same and also a lot of waiting and seeing if he wants to search for his own body and search for his own right mindset, because he likes to really stick with me and ask a lot from me, and he's fine with doing whatever I ask, but he struggles with actually being mindful of his own, what he's doing and what he's showing and what he's feeling. That's very difficult for him. And this first session was already mentally very challenging for him. And so we took a lot of breaks and long breaks. And then when he finally showed me he might want to roll, I let him loose. But of course, he was in his terrorizing mood. So instead, he was just kicking over my DIY tripod for the camera, but that's fine. And he did eventually take a nice roll. So as we were just trading in liberty, and that is basically what we're doing this whole video, is listening to the horses. What are they showing us? Well, Aslan was getting very tired and was mentally very difficult for him to do the working in hand session of part of the training. So I just let him go, and he was rolling. And then I thought it might be nice to practice this on cue again. And I know a lot of people wonder how to teach that. Well, there are multiple ways to teach it, but not all of them are very friendly. The most friendly way is when they want to roll anyway. You can make your horse wet for that in the summer, but of course now it's cold. But the most friendly way is to, when they already want to roll, like Aslan was showing here, to then join them and add a cue to that, and then reward it when they actually roll down, or at least lie down. And I like to show him the digging in the sand, like they always do themselves. I'm trying to make him copy that. But every time I would lower my body language towards the ground, he would think he needs to do a split. So we're struggling with this, and that's also why he doesn't really know this trick yet. Every time I practice it, and I haven't practiced it for years, but every time I do practice it, he shows me that it's very confusing to him. He just wants to lie down or roll, and then when I add a cue or reward him for it, he's very confused and he doesn't really know what to do with that. So with that, I stopped trying at all. But I still think it would be nice. So that is how I would teach my horse to lie down on a command or a cue. But yeah, Aslan wasn't feeling it, so it didn't happen today. But then we decided to do some actual moving liberty. And what I mostly like is like we're in a corner of the arena here, but I don't need anything to ask him to come towards me. And he's instantly like giving me a lot of enthusiasm, showing off. He's all for this right now. And that is what I really like about working in liberty. Of course, he can choose to go away, to go somewhere else, but no, he wants to show off. He's even doing some canter, which he thinks is very difficult. So I'm very excited about this part of our liberty training. It helps to also move up and down. So I'm looking like a weirdo, but we're having fun together. Woohoo! So you can see Aslan mostly canters upwards and not that much forward. So that would be the next step, which we practice often. But now I just want him to stay on the circle. So of course, when I ask for faster, he's not able to do that on the small circle. And of course, I can ask a bigger circle, but then he would very likely just go away, especially since we just started the liberty session like 2 seconds ago. So usually when I do the liberty session for a little bit longer, then I can really steer and everything. But in the beginning, he really needs to be motivated and have all positive reinforcement for him to join in the training and keep joining in the training. Because if I just push him away, he will very easily in the beginning of the training say, well, guess we're not doing this then. You could also see very clearly that he has a preferred side. And that's also what I like about liberty training. He can really show, no, my right side is better. I think left is difficult. He also really falls towards me, which I have to help him and guide him with the whip and with my body language to stay on a kind of circle. But he very easily falls towards me, and I help him with my... I try to help him in the training, but it's still difficult for him, and that's fine. We just continue practicing. And I would never start using training aids or any other restricting things, because he really has to figure this out by himself with my guidance, so that he will also be able to use everything that he's learned in, like when he's just moving around on a paddock paradise, when he's moving around in the herd and playing with his friends. I would still like him to use his body in a correct way then. So that's why I'm not using any training aids. So here we go again. He was very excited, lots of cantering, which is, really good of him, very difficult for him. So I was very excited about that. And I really like this shot with the sunrise with it. So we just had a lot of fun this morning. And he's just showing off like he always does. And that is what I love about him. And then it was time, after a really nice session with Aslan, to do a little cooling down. So we walked around the arena together. in Liberty, of course. But Aslan wasn't feeling it anymore. He was done. He was tired. He just wanted to go back to his friends. He just wanted to enjoy the sunrise. Yeah. But I couldn't keep him in the arena with me while I was training Lindy, because then he always eats the food that's on the side of the arena. So he did have to go. So even though the arena is wet but very good to be training in, the rest of our place is very muddy. This is the path where the trucks came to bring this sand, so that's all gotten very bad. So it's a struggle to get and bring horses into the arena, but we managed. And then here is Lindy. Lindy really enjoys drinking from the puddles, which is very cute. But then she doesn't really want to come inside the arena, and it's also a bit difficult for her to make the step up onto the sand because it's quite a difference. So here I just walked towards the puddles to see if she wanted to drink, because she usually does. But of course, when you're offering, then she doesn't. Look at this cutie. But that was fine. So I closed off the arena and we just started our session together. So my sessions with Lindy are very different from my sessions with Aslan, where Aslan and I are a team for years and we know each other very well, and we know exactly what we ask from each other and what we want from each other and what we're going to do together and what we enjoy doing together. And Lindy has been here for a few months now. She's been with me since September of last year. And we still are really getting to know each other. So in the beginning, I just wanted to make sure that we have a relaxed session, to have fun, to really set that for the beginning. So we just walked around a little bit on a long lead rope, and she was enjoying a big roll. Since she has some struggles in her body, rolling and also mostly getting up is difficult for her, but we're helping her with a lot of treatments, training, and like a special clay on her back, which has been worn out here. So I applied more the day after this. Here I let go of her so she could enjoy an even nicer roll. And of course she did. And she even was able to, after a little struggle, turn around, which is good, because of course we're as horse owners, we're always happy when our horses are able to roll over. So she did very well. And then we had a nice little session in Liberty. It was very cute because she was following me around a lot. And that is something new because she still has a lot of tension. When I put her in the arena, she often paces from one end to the other, like one corner to the other. A little bit of separation anxiety, a little bit of insecurity. So it's really nice that she is all in for this session, that she really wants to be with me, that she's really eager to join the session. She didn't really show any of those signs like stress or tension or anxiety during this entire training. So I was very proud of her. And we just walked around a little bit. And in that, as I said, my trainings with Lindy are very different from Aslan. So this is really the basics. But I enjoy doing it in Liberty because that just gives her the voice that I want to give her. So she can walk away any moment, and I want her to learn that she can, that I will listen to her, that that's not a problem, because now she still very easily goes into a biting mode or even threatening to kick. And of course, that's not necessary at all. So she doesn't have to, when she decides she doesn't agree, immediately have to scream and show those big outings of no's. She can just gently tell me with small signals in her facial expression or by walking away. That would be fine. So we're learning that. Here I am just practicing with walking and stopping with a cue. It's very funny that a lot of people, like maybe even most people that I have sessions with or lessons with their own horses, they don't really have a sign or a cue for walking and stopping with their horse. They usually just start walking and pull the rope, and then the horses follow them, and then they just stop walking, and then the horses bumps into them or steps a few more steps, and then eventually, because of the tension on the rope, they will stop. But you can actually teach your horse to walk and stop with you. So the cue that I really like is just with breathing out. That's really nice, because then, yeah, I don't know, it's just instantly calming. Here she found some manure leftovers. And she instantly was like, no, wait up. It's very cute to see that she actually walked pretty fast to catch up on me again. But I'm really calmly saying, whoa. And then you can see that she doesn't really circle around me or goes further than me. And I don't have to give her any physical restrictions to tell her to do that. I can just say, ho, and breathe out, and then we'll stand still. What we're practicing here is a little bit of her fixation on food. Of course, I'm a big fan of clicker training, so I'm teaching clicker training to her. But here I didn't click. I was waiting for her to at least show me some signs of relaxation. You can see that she was trying to paw. Here she was fixating on what was happening outside. So I'm asking with my hands for a little bit of focus back on me, standing on the other side of the objects she's fixating on. And then eventually she showed a little bit calmness around the treat. But of course it's very difficult for her. So we practiced it, even showing a smile. She's really trying whatever she can to get the treats. And it's even a very low reward treat. It's just normal food. It's not like a carrot or an apple or something with a lot of sugar in it. But she still hasn't really learned that click is treat and no click is no treat. So she also, when she looks for a treat, she also isn't very gentle. Sometimes she just does take your fingers in her mouth with the treats. So yeah, that's something we practice on. And then I decided it would be nice to also do a little bit of a proprioception session. You've seen the whole video, but here I will just be doing a very, very easy part of that. So she's still very focused on me. It's very cute. And here you can see me, and she's standing still. And again, she's showing me whatever she can to earn some treats. And this time it doesn't take as long for her to let go of that fixation and calm down a little bit and actually earn that treat. It is cute that she's showing all of this, of course, but I don't want to encourage that. So I'm not rewarding this yet, only when she calms down. And for the starting with walking, I do, and that's it. Just one click. I also see a lot of people, and I do that as well, who instantly do like 5 clicks. But one should do. Here she finally earned some treats. And you can see how vicious she is about that. So with these pulls, we're gonna play a little game of Mikado. Of course, you might know Mikado. It's the game with the sticks, where you have to put them on a pile and then move them away without moving the sticks. Lindy was struggling. Of course, we only do it with 2 small poles, and it was still something that was difficult for her. She was also very fixated on it. But it is something that will teach her a lot about where her hoofs are, how she can move around, how she doesn't have to fixate on the food. And the best way to do that is in liberty, so you're not restricting or deciding any way of the movement. Because if you focus on her hooves like this, for example, you can see her feeling it, noticing, okay, my hoof is on the pole right now, the pole is moving slightly a little bit, what should I do now? And of course, backing up is difficult for Lindy already. So it was a lot of thinking. And I would have been fine with any way of any solution for her here. It would have been fine if she moved forward, if she moved her hoof backwards. She ended up moving, like putting her weight on the hoof that was on the pole and then moving away, which is even harder, so even more impressive. And I noticed that I was a little bit more too much in the frame, so I placed the poles a little bit further away. And like that, you can continue playing with moving the poles or placing the poles in different ways. As you can see, Lindy is still very focused on the treats. So sometimes in between the session, I have to show her that my hand is empty when I don't click. But this was very pretty, or very good of her, because these poles were pretty close to each other and she still managed to put that hind hoof in between them, like pretty consciously. And this is also very nice that she is also as conscious that she moves around it. So she knows exactly where those poles are and when her hoofs are. But it's just physically asking a lot from her because of the specific problems she has with her body. You can also put them in an X. Then one of the poles will get a little higher. That proved to be a little bit more difficult for Lindy because she instantly knocked it over. But the goal is not to be able to do it without the horse touching the poles, or for them to always have it perfectly placed on the sand between where the poles are. The goal is for your horse to learn from this. And I've noticed that is a difficult mindset for a lot of people, because apparently we want our horses to do everything perfectly, but they're still learning. It's fine. So just improvement is the goal here. And you will see that improvement mostly when you go on a trail ride and they don't trip as often. So that is what we're working for. Of course, Lindy and I don't go on trail rides because she's too small for me. But I also still want her to feel more comfortable in her body and feel more confident about whatever she's doing. So that was my little session with Lindy. And then I put her back with her friends, took off her halter, which I always struggle with when I only have one hand. But it's really nice that she immediately walked towards Presto, because we've been working a lot on bonding her with the other horses, because she's fine, but she's a mom, so she wants everything to behave, and she doesn't have to worry about that much as she is. So we've been doing a lot together with the horses that she struggles with. And apparently they really started to like each other because she's standing with Presto a lot. So that's really nice. And then I got some nice cuddles from Presto. And of course, Aslan tried to steal the show again, like we know him to do. So all in all, it was a really nice sunrise session in Liberty with these cuties. And I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in another video. Like I said, if you have any requests on videos or trainings, let me know in the comments. Bye bye.